Mike Pence. Well, hello, Chicago. Thank you for that warm welcome. It is great to be back in the heartland with the rising generation of conservative leaders gathered here at the 2019 Midwest Regional Conference of Turning Point USA. Thank you for being here. You're the leaders of this rising generation. Your stand, your voice is an inspiration to young people all across the heartland and all across America. Let me take this opportunity to say thanks to a great friend of mine, not only for that kind introduction, but for his outstanding leadership. Would you mind getting on your feet and thanking the founder and CEO of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk? Doing a great job for America. And speaking of conservative leaders, let me bring greetings from another friend of mine. I told him I was going to be here, and I'll tell you, he is a great admirer of Turning Point USA and all of you that are gathered here. So allow me to begin by bringing greetings from the 45th President of the United States of America, President Donald Trump. What a week we've had. In the last week alone, the last inch of the ISIS caliphate was captured by the armed forces of the United States and our allies. The ISIS caliphate is no more. House Republicans upheld the President's declaration of a national emergency on our southern border, and we've already started to build that wall. The Green New Deal got 0 votes in the United States Senate. And as President Trump said last night in Grand Rapids, Michigan, the collusion delusion is over. It's just amazing to think about it. After 2 years of investigation and reckless accusations by many Democrats and members of the media, day in and day out, the special counsel confirmed what President Trump said all along. There was no collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia during the 2016 election, and the Attorney General confirmed there was no obstruction of justice. Make no mistake about it, this was a total vindication of the President of the United States and our administration, and it should really be welcomed by every American. But while some Democrats I know will continue to cling to discredited allegations, I'll make you a promise. The American people can be confident the President and I are going to continue to focus where we always have from the very beginning, on the issues that are most important to our country, on a stronger and more prosperous America and a safer world. That's our pledge to each and every one of you. And that's exactly what we've done since the beginning of this administration. In fact, if you look back over the last 2 years, under the leadership of President Donald Trump, it's been 2 years of action. It's been 2 years of results. It's been 2 years of promises made and promises kept, and we're just getting started, Turning Point. I mean, think about it. The President promised to roll back the heavy hand of government, and he's already signed more laws cutting federal red tape than any president in American history. The President promised to unleash American energy. He approved the Keystone and Dakota pipelines, withdrew the United States from the job-killing Paris Climate Accord, and today the United States is the world's largest producer of oil and natural gas. We promised to forge new trade deals that put American jobs and American workers first. Now, NAFTA is on its way out, and the USMCA is here. And with the support of so many of you in this room, and with strong Republican majorities in the House and Senate over the last 2 years, this president signed the largest tax cut and tax reform in American history. We cut taxes for working families, for businesses large and small, and we cut out the heart of Obamacare. The individual mandate is gone. And you know, the results have been nothing short of amazing. In just over 2 years, businesses large and small across this country have created 5.3 million new jobs, including more than 490,000 manufacturing jobs. Remember when the last president said in his last year in office that manufacturing had never come back? You know, when I was governor of Indiana, we used to say the Hoosier State did two things well. We make things and we grow things. And that's equally true in states all across the heartland. But President Obama actually said, what are you going to do? I think his words were, wave a magic wand. He said, you're not going to bring those jobs back. 2 years later, we didn't need to wave a magic wand. We just needed to elect Donald Trump as the 45th president of the United States, and 490,000 manufacturing jobs and counting. I mean, the stock market is soaring. Nearly 5 million Americans have been lifted off food stamps. The unemployment rate has hit a nearly 50-year low, and there's more Americans working today than ever before in our nation's history. In fact, for the first time on record, there's more job openings than there are Americans looking for work. You recent college graduates picked a great time to enter the workforce. America is open for business. So confidence is back. Jobs are back. In a word, America is back. And we're just getting started. And to ensure our growth, we all know that we've got to secure the blessings of liberty with a strong national defense, and President Trump and our administration have been about just that. From the very first days of this administration, we've worked to make the strongest military in the history of the world stronger still. And last year, President Trump signed the largest investment in our national defense since the days of Ronald Reagan. We're rebuilding our military. We're restoring the arsenal of democracy, and we are once again giving our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard the resources and support they need to accomplish their mission and come home safe. We're also standing with the brave men and women of law enforcement and giving those who stand on the thin blue line the resources and the respect that they deserve every single day. And that includes the courageous men and women who enforce our immigration laws. And I'll make you a promise. Under this administration, we will never abolish ICE. We will stand by the men and women who uphold the laws of our land. You know, the president said so many times, if you don't have a border, you don't have a country. That's why since the first days of this administration, we've also been working to secure our border, enforce our laws, and build a strong wall on the southern border of the United States. Now, make no mistake about it. No matter what you hear from the Democrats and their allies in the media, we have a crisis on our southern border. And it's like nothing we've ever seen before. Today, for the first time, the majority of illegal immigrants coming into our country are unaccompanied minors and families who are being exploited by human traffickers and drug cartels to take the long and dangerous journey north to our southern border, often being terribly abused along the way. This past Monday, Customs and Border Patrol saw more than 4,000 people attempt to come into our country illegally in one day. That's the highest single-day number in the last decade. Now, Democrats say it's a manufactured crisis, but the only thing that's manufactured is their outrage. Every day we don't secure our border, we're allowing this crisis to worsen. More lives to be endangered, more drugs to flow into our country. Drug overdose today is the leading cause of death for adults under 55 years of age. In 2017, across America, 192 people lost their lives to drug overdose every single day. There is no community, large or small, across the heartland or anywhere in America that hasn't felt the scourge of drug abuse and addiction. That's among the reasons why this president took such a strong stand for border security when he used his authority under the law to declare a national emergency on our southern border, because this president knew America needed to act. And as the president even said earlier today, we're calling on our neighbors to the south to do more. The president called on Mexico today to stop all illegal immigration coming into the United States through our southern border. And if they don't, we will be closing the border or large sections of the border next week. We must address the crisis on our southern border, and we must demand that our neighbors in this hemisphere join us. So we're going to build that wall. We're going to secure the border. And then I'll make you a promise. We're going to fix this broken immigration system once and for all. So we're defending our nation, we're securing our borders, and with a renewed commitment to the rule of law, this president's also been strengthening the foundations of our Constitution by appointing more conservative judges to our federal courts in the last 2 years than any administration in American history. And that doesn't even include Justice Neil Gorsuch or Justice Brett Kavanaugh. And I can tell you firsthand, these judges are all strong, conservative men and women who I know will uphold all the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution and our Bill of Rights, like the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, the right to keep and bear arms in the Second Amendment, and the inalienable right to life. You know, I've long believed that a society can be judged by how it deals with its most vulnerable, the aged, the infirm, the disabled, and the unborn. And I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president to a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. Since the earliest days of this administration, President Trump has taken decisive steps to protect taxpayer dollars from supporting abortion at home and abroad. In fact, it was my great honor to cast the tie-breaking vote in the United States Senate that sent to the President's desk a bill that allowed all 50 states to defund Planned Parenthood. Life is winning in America because of this rising generation. But for all the progress we're making for life, tragically, at the very moment that more and more Americans are recognizing the sanctity and preciousness of every life, leading members of the Democratic Party are embracing a radical agenda of abortion on demand. In state legislatures across the country, Democrats have endorsed late-term abortion. The Democratic governor of Virginia openly defended infanticide. And last month, Democrats in the Senate, including every Democrat senator running for president, voted against a bill that would prevent newborn babies who survived failed abortions from being killed. With Democrats embracing late-term abortion, infanticide, and a culture of death, I promise you, this president, this administration, and this movement will always stand for the unborn. We will always defend the inalienable right to life. So help us God. So we're restoring strength and prosperity, respect for our God-given liberties, and America's winning again. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm nowhere near getting tired of it. But I came by today just to say thank you. Thanks for your support, the support of millions of young patriots like you who've made the progress that we've made possible. With your support, we won a historic victory in 2016. And in 19 months from now, I know that your support will lead to another historic victory when we re-elect President Donald Trump for 4 more years. So tonight, I just wanted to thank you. Thank you for all you wonderful young people are doing to defend the conservative values that have always made this country great and are making America great again. Turning Point USA is the largest and fastest growing organization dedicated to preserving our birthright of liberty for this next generation anywhere in this country. You're winning hearts and minds on more than 1,300 college and high school campuses all across America. You engage in more than 500,000 face-to-face conversations with your fellow college students each semester. And you're adding to your ranks every single day. It's truly inspiring to see. The young men and women of Turning Point USA stand for timeless American values of freedom, free markets, limited government. And you do it in the too often hostile environments of today's American higher education. I don't have to tell you that today, instead of encouraging free thought and vigorous debate and diverse viewpoints, many colleges and universities are shutting down debate, stifling conservative viewpoints on campuses around America. On too many campuses, policies make it clear that conservative voices are not welcome. And students who dissent from liberal dogma in the classrooms are silenced with speech codes and safe spaces and trigger warnings. There's a real battle in our country today. It's a battle over the closing of the American mind. And each of you are on the front lines. Just last month at a Turning Point recruiting event at the University of California, Berkeley, we all saw it. Hayden Williams was punched in the face for exercising his First Amendment rights. And after the news broke, left-wing voices on Twitter actually thanked and applauded his attacker. What a disgrace. Hayden's a tough guy. And as the president said, Hayden can take a punch. Truth is, Hayden took a punch for all of us, but he shouldn't have to. Last year, I met another brave young woman who's been defending free speech on campus, Ellen Whitman. She's a junior at Miami University in Ohio. Ellen is president of Students for Life. 2 years ago, she planned an event to display small wooden crosses representing lives of the unborn on campus. But school officials actually told her that she had to post signs all over campus to give other students a trigger warning about the crosses. Ellen was at the White House just last week. She said words I'll never forget. She said, and I quote, "Speech is not free when university officials put conditions on student speech." And then she added, "The only permit we need to speak on campus is the First Amendment." What an impressive young lady. You know, in response to these and other incidents like them across America, last week, President Trump signed an executive order to ensure that America's First Amendment protections extend to every college and university campus in America. We will not stand idly by and allow public institutions to violate their students' constitutional rights. As the President said, if a college or university doesn't allow you to speak, we will not give them money. It's that simple. And don't doubt for a second the American people are with us. I opened up the newspaper this morning, front page of the Washington Times, reported a new survey. Nearly 3 in 4 voters, 73% of Americans, favor President Trump's order last week requiring U.S. colleges to protect free speech or risk losing federal research dollars. The American people are with us because the American people believe in freedom. People of this country know it doesn't take courage to silence free speech. It takes courage to defend it. Censorship is the tool of the coward. So to Hayden, Ellen, and all the brave young Americans who continue to stand your ground in the face of intimidation and even violence, on behalf of the President of the United States, I say tonight, keep standing strong, and we will all stand with you. So we've been standing with the men and women of Turning Point USA. We've been standing up for free speech, and we've been keeping the promises we made to all of you and the American people 2 years ago. But to keep on winning, the American people face a choice in the next 2 years. I think the stakes have never been higher, but the choice has never been clearer. Will America continue to build on the extraordinary progress that we've made over the past 2 years in security and prosperity? Or will Democrats take America on a hard left turn and squander all the gains we fought so hard to advance? That's the choice. This country was founded on a simple but profound principle. That principle is freedom. But over my lifetime, the support for liberty, for a strong national defense, for free enterprise, for our God-given inalienable rights has fallen increasingly to our party and to this movement to defend. And so we will. Today, Democrats openly advocate an economic system that has impoverished millions of people around the world. That system is socialism. But it was freedom, not socialism, that gave us the most prosperous economy in the history of the world. It was freedom, not socialism, that ended slavery, won 2 world wars, and stands today as a beacon of hope for all the world. It was freedom, not socialism, that's moving us beyond the prejudices of the past to create a more perfect union and extend the blessings of liberty to Americans of every race and creed and color. And it was freedom, not socialism, that gave us the highest quality of life, the cleanest environment, and the greatest healthcare system the world has ever known. It was freedom, not socialism. And it was freedom that created that healthcare system and free markets. You know, the truth is, Obamacare was nothing less than a government takeover of healthcare. Back when I was a member of Congress, we called it that when they were trying to pass it. When they got it across the line, that's exactly what it's become. And Obamacare has failed. And now the Democrats are calling for Medicare for all, a single-payer system that many of us believe was their objective all along. So let me make you a promise. President Trump and I will never give up in our effort to repeal and replace Obamacare and give the American people a health care system based on choice, affordability, and freedom. I mean, the truth is, what Medicare for all really means is quality health care for none. The only thing green about the so-called Green New Deal is how much green it's going to cost all of us if they ever put it into law. As we reflect on the choice before us, we do well to remember Margaret Thatcher's words. The trouble with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money. The moment America becomes a socialist country is the moment America ceases to be America. And as the President said in his State of the Union address, so we must say with one voice, America will never be a socialist country. But make no mistake about it, the challenge before us is not just about winning an election. We must win the next generation. And that's where you all come in. Your values, your character make you leaders in this rising generation. You stand out. So before I leave tonight, I want to offer you a challenge. All the great young men and women involved in Turning Point USA and all those that are looking on from afar across the heartland and across the country. What you've seen and heard and learned in this movement, carry from here and continue to lead in this generation. Live out your values. Stand up for our most cherished traditions. And as the good book says, always be prepared to give a reason for the hope that you have. But do so with gentleness and respect. You know, in my morning devotions on Air Force Two this week, I was reading a story in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 8. It's about the farmer that went out to sow a seed. The verse reads, "The seed that fell on good soil yielded a crop 100 times more than was sown." The verse goes on to tell us that the Nazarene later pulled aside his disciples and he explained to them what the meaning of the parable was and how it had to do with the character of men and women. He said, and I quote, "The seed on good soil stands for those with a noble and good heart, who hear the word, retain it, and by persevering produce a crop." And I say to this rising generation, That's what you must aspire to be. Men and women with noble and good hearts who focus on the truth and who persevere. Whether it be in strengthening your faith or your conservative convictions or an understanding of the roots of American greatness, hear it, retain it, and persevere. For as the men and women of Turning Point USA already know, those of us who stand for conservative values are going to face opposition and criticism and even ridicule. Comes with the territory. That's where perseverance comes in. You have to turn your face like flint against the wind. And first, expect it, because you won't be disappointed. Winston Churchill said once, quote, "You have enemies? Good. That means you stood up for something at some time in your life." So expect opposition and criticism. And second, persevere. Now, my favorite president is the one I go to work with every day. But one of the runner-ups is Calvin Coolidge. I've got his portrait in my office. He had some words to say about perseverance that I've actually got tacked to the bulletin board at my house. They're great words to live by. If you don't know a lot about him, Calvin Coolidge was a strong conservative. He was also a vice president. He also had been a governor. But I digress. Calvin Coolidge said, and I quote, "Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, 'Press on,'" he said, "has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race." Calvin Coolidge had it right. We need to press on. And third, have fun. Because winners have fun. And we're winning. Men and women of Turning Point, as President Trump has said, you have the courage. You speak the truth. You do what's right. You fight for what you believe. At this critical time in the life of our nation, we need you to keep on fighting. And as I close, let me remind you that if you ever need inspiration to keep moving forward, to keep standing for timeless American ideals, just remember, freedom isn't free. Our freedom has been bought at a great price. You can see it on a hillside outside our nation's capital, and in every veteran cemetery in the land. They fought, and many died, for freedom. All we have to do is stand up, speak up, identify, empower, and organize. So let's do it. Thank you for the honor of addressing you all today. And from this small town boy from southern Indiana, let me just say it's the greatest honor of my life to be your vice president, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Men and women of this rising generation, we are at a turning point. But I believe with all my heart that if we hold the banner of freedom high, if we put into practice those words on the Liberty Bell to proclaim liberty throughout all the land and unto all the inhabitants thereof, the American people will rally to our cause. We will keep on winning. America will keep on growing. We will be safer than ever before, more prosperous than ever before, and we will make America great again. Thank you very much. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.